mobile usage is driving down data prices through scale. Therefore, social via mobile could drive down data prices for Africa. That's the hypothesis. For me, there's two interesting social trends here, and none of which I've invented. These are observed by much smarter people than I. But one is continuous partial attention. We, for a multitude of reasons, sit and consume multiple media at once. Okay, there is this saying in my industry where you have to, pay for attention. You have to really fight for people's attention because it's so finite and the possibilities of media consumption are infinite. So that's there. And this will play into hopefully some logic in my next slide. The second one is the confluence of the social web via mobile anchored by GPS or location-based services. So let's just unpack this one. Thought experiment. Does anybody here think that if everybody had a smartphone in Africa, is social media usage on mobile phones big? Does anybody disagree with that? So let me start that again. So the assertion is social media via mobile phones is massive. The only thing that would take away from the truth of that statement is the smartphone adoption. Does anybody disagree with that? So if we all had smartphones, the social media thing would be big, and it's a given. Is that correct? Right. No. So what... Hey? You disagree? Yeah. Park it, we'll chat just now. I wanted it to be discursive, but later. So I think it's pretty standard that if everyone had smartphones, social media would be one of the largest drivers of traffic. I've got data to prove what I'm saying, despite his assertion. So the real problem here in South Africa and Africa is this adoption of smartphones. That is not the debate today, okay? Because that's a huge topic, and it's a debate about the switch from feature phones to smartphones and the costs. What I will say to you is a CTO of a large telecommunications company here spoke to me about 2 months ago and said that the Chinese company Huawei, which I've pronounced incorrectly, no one knows how to pronounce it.
Who are we?
I don't know who you are, but who are we? Whatever. It's a big Chinese telecoms company. Basically said to the CTO, we can sell you. We can give you a phone that you can retail for equivalent of $100 with his margin. And so, if we look at that exchange rate, 700-800 rand. We've just done some research in Soweto that basically gave us a feeling that there's a high level of conspicuous consumption. There's a high level of purchasing very expensive soccer jerseys in a certain target demographic. So the leap to say that there's a smartphone available and that adoption will continue is a fairly short leap. My point is smartphone adoption is on its way. The conversion cycle has begun a long time ago, and it will reach out to every LSM. Okay. So point 2 here means that we are increasingly using social media on our mobile phones. It needs to be delivered mostly by smartphones. And this is anchored in what we call a real-time experience, okay? It's a word that's starting to creep up in the lexicon of marketers again, experiential marketing. But through the GPS, it gives me a location-based awareness or a location-based anchor point for my social interaction. And it sounds nuanced and what have you. I've got a few examples. But it's very fundamental in driving social media on a mobile phone and mobile. The Silicon Valley talks about this thing which sounds really lame, and it's called solo-mo. Right? It's their catchphrase for investing in a sector that is probably the most prolific sector at the moment. It's about combining social media, the Facebooks and the Twitters and the LinkedIns, with on your mobile phone. I'll show you some data usage now, and anchoring it with this GPS coordinate. Okay, so for instance, there's this social media platform called Instagram. You take a photo, it actually puts your geolocation in there, you write a comment, and you post it. It's been going for 18 months, it's got 25 million users, and there's 13 employees. That's just one example of this. For me, one of the social trends too that's very interesting for me is social on a mobile is the ultimate in-betweener. And no, it's not a sexual position. It's actually in between your meetings, and when you have this so-called spare time, you really do want to look at your email on your phone. You do. But the psychological payload for that is sometimes tough, and you just think, oh my God, that's too stressful. So the ultimate in-betweener is social media. I can make some random comments that seem to mean something to me. They don't actually mean much to many other people, but I think other people will care about that. And there's a very, very large demand for that type of behaviour. And so you begin to understand how this thing is so addictive. What we're seeing as well is the proliferation of social gaming. There's an example at the back which I'll show you about. Let's just look at the stats here. This is from Business Intelligence, Business Insider. It's like the tabloid of digital finance, but nonetheless it has some good stats. What this says here is these sites, the origination of traffic, the origination of their traffic deriving from mobile phones. So there's already a third of all traffic going to Facebook is from a mobile phone, and it's pretty much a smartphone. Twitter is 55%, and Pandora, which is an unlimited music service, a subscription service, is 70%.